Okay, so this over here is all the work we did today, looking at the revision for Unit 1. So we start off with the Grand Alliance, move on to the Tehran Conference, right through to the Yalta Conference, to Potsdam. So it's getting worse, the relationship is now breaking down. So we go to the era of mistrust in 1946, where we have the Iron Curtain, the Long Telegram and Novikov's telegram. That mistrust then leads to action in 1947, where we start off with the Truman Doctrine, the Marshall Plan, and we see the Soviet reaction with Comiform and then Comecon. Now this is a point whereby the students who were working got me told off because I broke from the rainbow strategy of colouring they were adopting. Don't care. So we start off with the issue of Germany and the division of Germany, and then the blockade, why that happened, what the Soviets then did, and how this was responded to. We then have a look at the consequences, zoom out a bit so we can fit it all in, which is about what happened to Germany, NATO, the arms race, and kind of obvious the Soviet control of Eastern Europe. We then move into looking at Soviet control of Eastern Europe with having a look at Hungary in '56, with why it happened, what Hungary was like beforehand, what the causes were. Have a look at Naj and his reforms, what it led to, and then the Soviet reaction to that, moving in to the invasion of Hungary in '56. The consequences of that, and followed by the Western reaction. We're then going to have a look at the Berlin crisis, looking at why it happened, the causes, the building of the wall, and the impact that had. Then we got to Cuba, looking at the causes, the missile crisis, the timeline of the event, and looking at the consequences there, which then takes us to our final case study, the Prague Spring. So we have a look at what Czechoslovakia was like, who Dubček was, what the reforms were, and the Brezhnev Doctrine. We then move on to détente, looking at why it happened, looking at the events of détente, moving into why it failed with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, timeline, a key event, why the Soviets responded in the way they did, and then the US response, looking at the Carter Doctrine, and then the Second Cold War, looking at who Ronald Reagan was, impact of the Evil Empire speech, the Star Wars program, and then the new thinking in the Soviet Union. For that we've got the issue of Chernobyl, the policy of glasnost, the policy of perestroika, the fact it wasn't quickly done, but why Gorbachev wanted to do this. On the home straight, we're now into the idea of treaties, why it happened, Geneva and Reykjavik, the INF Treaty, the Malta Summit, the Conventional Forces Agreement, and then finally Start 1, which was under the presidency of Bush Senior. And that takes us then to the collapse of Eastern Europe from communism. Here we've got the causes, we've got the key events of Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland, and then that leads us to the end of the Warsaw Pact in July 91. Okay?